mean, no other city has something like this because it's really untouched. It's just an airport landing field.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Current Art Podcast. I'm Yaching, and together with my friend and architect Anna Marie Hedek.
Hi,
I think she has a very cute last name, so that's why I have to say it. We are currently at Tempelhof Feld, which is an unused airport, right? Has rich history, used to use for a military training and then for like airport for the West Berlin, and then now it's like a big empty spot in Berlin where people hang out during the weekend.
my name is Annemarie. I live in Berlin and I'm a trained architect here. I met Yacheng a couple of years ago now when you moved to Berlin and you stayed here for a while now, and suddenly we lost you to New York City. Okay.
No, but I come back time to time and you will see me more and more often in the recent years because I really fell in love with Berlin. I fell in love with the culture here. I fell in love with the people here. This is like basically a small tour that we take you to learn a little bit about the weekend culture, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this became very severe. I think it was 48 and 49. We had the blockage. So the GDR government blocked the trainway from the west, and so the West Berlin became for about 1 or 2 years like really like an island, completely separated from the rest of the Western world, and then still, of course, the British, French, and American, they had, of course, these sections in Berlin, and they had to take care of it, not to lose Berlin, no?
Yeah.
So they decided to bring all the groceries, everything for the heating, everything on airplanes to this airport. And they say in the craziest time, every 90 seconds, an airplane landed here because it was a big population.
Yeah.
And the kids were really happy, I think, because the Americans came and they always had some sweets. So the kids were waiting and they got sweets from the American pilots. And So I think what I also hear from my older friends who remember this, I have a friend who's almost 70 or something. They came and they have a really good memory actually about this time in a way, because it really cheered them up, because this time was extremely difficult for the population, of course. There was not enough food, everything was ruined. So this has also this memory of the beginning of the Cold War. Actually, it's in the ring of the, we have the Ringbahn, the ring of the S-Bahn, the public transport in the ring zone. So it's in the center zone.
Yeah.
And this area being in the center zone is actually very rare. Probably there's no city having this kind of area where it's nothing but grass,
Yeah.
in any city, inside the ring. So this is very special, and the people entered and they found it quite nice to have barbecue here and to have kites and bring the kids and play music.
That's very interesting. Yeah, because like probably 20 years, like this place has just become a huge park. Right?
Yeah.
Like people just like spending their time here, riding bicycles, playing music, having their kids coming here, barbecuing. That's kind of symbolize like Berlin lifestyle.
Yeah, I think so. The funny thing about this, to us, it's all like a miracle, because they tried to close the park again, and they wanted to make like housing, residential building complex, and then when they started to talk about this, closing it down, actually people entered this park and they basically squatted it. So they couldn't close the gates anymore. And then there was a group of people, activists, who did something like a petition or like a referendum, and they said, like, we don't want anything to be built, not at all, 100%, nothing to be built.
Yeah.
And they collected so many votes, so many signatures that the government had to follow.
I see.
Then they opened it, because otherwise there were so many investors that wanted to use it, of course, because it's such a great location, in the city center. But the people were still so angry from the 90s and the 2000s when they sold off so many buildings. So I think there was no trust in the government anymore. If we let you build even just 20%, you're just gonna make this even bigger again. So they said 100% nothing. Just let's think about it and just let's do nothing. And this is actually continuing until now for almost 15 years.
But there's still like active discussion about how to use this place.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
There's always like private initiatives. Of course, also the government. They're thinking. Recently, they're discussing. I mean, what they're discussing is like a mixed use, like some area for housing. Since we're lacking housing, we need to build more housing. Then there's the old building of the airport. They did the fashion week in there, so all these years. They're thinking about to extend and have exhibition halls, international exhibition halls.
Yeah.
There's many ideas. It's just still like since there is this referendum, they have to now see, how they're gonna knock it out again.
And it's great because of such a huge area that is empty, that you can see the horizon and that everybody get a little space for themselves. That's something that is really rare in big city, big metropolitan city. This concept of empty space, and it's actually working out here. It must be great to think about how to develop this space without any destruction, without destroying this kind of empty space in the city.
I mean, no other city has something like this because it's really untouched. It's just an airport landing field. And then, of course, you have to, if you compare with other cities, of course, you would want to have something a bit more fancy, probably.
Every city wants to have the fancy places, like developed, what kind of architectures or monument, whatever, or fancy squares, shopping malls, and it's kind of become a landmark in some way. But this is Tempelhof Feld. It's Berlin's landmark, and then people were very happy about this, like this very humble, empty, and then just very plain field without anything in it. And then I think this is kind of like a city's identity, right? Like people love this kind of feeling, or people love this kind of style.
And of course this is the same topic for now, like 20, 30 years that of course the city changes, and the people also change a bit. People coming, people leaving, and then of course nothing ever stays the same, so we have to see how we can guide this, and this is what I think is important thing, to take time and think about concepts and guide this process.
You see, like this such a huge, large airport field, you really see somebody is selling things. Of course, they're like little stands selling ice cream and coffee or drinks, but only in a very considerable price. Is like really humble price. And you know that people are coming here, they are not here for spending money during the weekend. And this is something that, for example, compare with New York, you can never imagine. So everywhere you go, like public places, they encourage you to spend money. So I also find this is one of the greatest quality of Berlin, which you go somewhere that's not for capitalism. You don't contribute to capitalism, you contribute to your own life.
I mean, there's so many cities. I recently went to Tokyo, and it's the same thing. It's sometimes really hard to find benches, just a simple bench in the public space. Because everything is so full of buildings. And then, I mean, in Japan, you can even drink on the street, so this is fine. But we have this sense as Berliner, we take our little beer and then we sit somewhere in the park with our friends, and it costs almost nothing. Whereas, of course, in many cities, you have to go inside, to go to the restaurant, a bar, pay cover charges. We don't have all this. We are not like, I don't know. It's not, just because it's weekend, we don't have the sense that we're spending so much money. Of course, we go to a bar, we spend money, of course, but it's not that we have to do all the time. We can also stay outside in the summer and just be together. So I think it's an advantage to have a city where people have more money and people have less money. They can still meet because there's places that they go to where they can go together.
Yeah, this is a very good point. Like people who have less money and who have more money, they are still having a place to meet each other.
Yeah, I mean, this is about participation, and inclusion.
Yeah.
And something against the opposite of segregation. This is very important for a city, that you have a mixed structure. I think Berlin people love their flat. Once you find a nice flat and you're satisfied, then I think people love their flat and also love to invite many friends and cook together and so on.
Yeah, I love that too.
Right? So I think it's also nice, because this is what I missed a bit being in Japan. There's very small. It's like spending time outside in the restaurants.
Yeah.
Which is also nice, of course, but then always again spending money, and it's nice to share the place where we live. So my friend's place become my home too, my home too, something like that.
I have to find that kind of lifestyle in New York. So
I just know, like, when my friends come to my flat, everybody knows where to find a fork or whatever. Like, they just behave in a way that they think they live in my place. And many times we drink, they say, "Can I stay on your sofa?" And it's, of course, no. And then.
You mean the current flat?
Yeah, of course, all my flats.
But if I come, can I stay on the bed?
On the bed?
Yes.
We share the bed.
Yes, okay.
We just have to talk to the cats.
The cat was also on the bed?
Yeah, everyone together.
Everyone together. So 2 human beings, 2 cats.
Yeah.
I think it's a great episode, and I hope when I go back to New York, I can still live a life like that.
Yes, sure. No, I mean, Brooklyn is amazing.
Yeah. I guess it's also like an attitude, like how you look at money, how you look at spaces.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to keep it. I mean, it's always difficult once you have a career and you start working and earning money, and then you look around. Of course, it's nice to have money and to spend money. I also like to do shopping and all of this, but then it's also maybe try to have a balance. Sometimes you go shopping and do this and that, but many weekends also we just do nothing, and I really enjoy doing nothing.
Yeah.
But I think it's good what you said before, these stimulating things. I just know from my time in Tokyo that, of course, it takes a lot of energy, always having lights on the street, and the streets are more narrow. And I think for the body, it's also to some extent some stress, because you get really excited, no? And then afterwards you also have this time of being a bit tired because it's excitement. And in this sense, it's of course nice to have these parks, because here it's
there's no stimulation.
No stimulation, no. It's really, you have fresh air.
Yeah.
The green.
Yeah.
You talk to your friends. This makes you also happy. I think there's a lot of studies, no, that people spend time with their friends simply that they age more slowly and
really?
also die later.
We have
to have friends.
We have to meet next week for so many times, because I want to slowly get aged. Yeah, and I know what you're talking about, because I think living in big cities sometimes is consume your energy instead of charge you. And I think this empty space in the city is like a space that recharge you, and is very beautiful. It's very beautiful. You saw like so many families gathering here, and I don't know, teenager groups and people with many bicycles. They do a lot of sports, and also they're like a big field where people do the barbecue. There's community garden, dog parks. So there's so many things going on. And
also the natural reserve for the birds, and also some areas just not touched at all, so that birds can nest.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like a good combination of nature and then human activity. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next week, next Sunday. We are available on YouTube Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Pocket Podcasts. Thank you so much for watching, and ciao ciao.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.